I restarted this video once, and I am a squid of frustration! Because my program, it's just like a camera where it has the setting for a photo, or it has the setting for a video, and I clicked on photo, and I did my entire video with the background of this! This is all the last video was! Where are my glasses? And I've lost my glasses! God hates us all. Does he? Does he really hate it? Yeah, life is kind of screwed up. But God Hates Us All is a spin-off from the show Californication, and it is about how things are so random and messed up in life and in early life and topsy-turvy that God must hate us. Now, I think the title is interesting because it's God Hates Us All, and I don't see many people talking about God like that. Not even like in the atheist book realm where they're like, God doesn't exist, or God is a fascist, or things like that. It's God Hates Us All. I actually had talked about this book a little bit on the nerd spanning videos, but I didn't want to say that one because my parents watched that one, and I don't want them to hear me say God Hates Us All so many times, because it doesn't matter where you're reading this book. People look at you weird when you're reading a book called God Hates You All, and they assume certain things. But it is fiction. It is so fiction, it is made by a fictional author. So, but still, really good read, despite the weird looks. When I shot the rest of this video, I neglected to mention how when I first heard the title, it was not on a book. It was in a television show, by a character on a television show, about something fake. So it is removed from reality. So, naturally, I assumed that this book could never be published because it is published in a television show where they can name stuff crazy stuff that never actually has to be on a bookshelf. And yet, here it is on a bookshelf. Way to go, reality! It's about a guy who's good with women, just like in the show Californication, and he's in college, he decides to quit in order just to have fun with a girlfriend. And then things go wrong, and then he ends up just peddling drugs. Not really peddling drugs as much as being a bag boy. The next book is The Great Shark Hunt by Hunter S. Thompson. And The Great Shark Hunt's the first of many books where it's pretty much all of Hunter S. Thompson's writing. Not all, like there are parts of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and there are parts of... they're actually parts of... What's that book? They're actually parts of the Rum Diary, like 30 years before they actually published the Rum Diary. So it's his thoughts. And he has this weird kind of style that's called Gonzo. And Gonzo, it is disconnected, there's not much of a point, and it follows him as, like, things happen around him. And he states everything very matter-of-factly. Some of the writing within his writing about his life is considered fiction, and because people say that some of the things never happened, but they happened to him, and it's a really interesting form of writing that is more focused on truth than on reality. And as in reality, a lot of things end like in the middle without a good story resolution, and this is very effective in making people want to do something. I have not very far in this book because I read a couple pages and I want to go do and make something, and it's actually part of the reason why I love his writing and why I loved like the Rum Diary. You know, why I love that more than Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. So, the next book is The Woman's Room, and this book's a really sad book. You know when a book starts with a woman crying in the bathroom that it's going to be sad, and it is monumentally sad. It's several themes of feminism, but it's not about a woman trying to be a feminist. It's probably the most honest depiction of a feminist ever. Not even like, there's a lot of confusion with what feminism is, and I think that's the fault more of people that call themselves feminists than people that just go to the reality that women are still people and that men are people and we're all people. And instead of sticking to that, they're like, no, feminism's like other women, and they're big, strong, and they're better than men, and men are not people. That's the opposite of progress. I don't know if it's necessary to make progress, but that's what exists. But this getting off topic, this book is about an honest woman who just wants to live her life as a person. She doesn't want to define herself. She struggles with men and relationships and sex because she doesn't want to define herself as a man with a man. She doesn't want to get tied down, but she discovers in the 1950s that things are dangerous for a single woman and she needs a man to protect her. So she gets married anyway, and it's all like with that struggle with, I could do this, but then society doesn't want me to do this. And like she gets sent off for a good college education in order to find a husband. And there she's already decided that she doesn't need a husband, or she doesn't want one for what she wants to do, which is read and learn and just be your own woman. And it's very frustrating and very sad, and also probably a fantastic instrument for change. I bought this for a penny actually, and then I had it rushed, so it costs still like half of what it's on sale for at major websites. But The Woman's Room. Then I have a book that I think I lost my bookmark. So then I have Lullaby by Chuck Palahniuk. And a lot of people say that Chuck Palahniuk nothing's as good as Fight Club. And there's the thing with writing something like Fight Club is that Chuck Palahniuk doesn't think it's terribly good. And there are other things to write, there are other things to address, and I don't think you necessarily have to just stick to the best of an author when there's still really good messages in this. Not necessarily messages, but this book is Lullaby. It's about a poem, well, it's about a poem at its source, but a lonely man is a journalist, and he's investigating several mysterious deaths with no cause and no whatever, and at the middle of it he finds this poem, and it's all about unraveling the mystery of this poem, how we treat other people, how we judge other people as people, and our feelings in split situations. And it's probably not the full like, it's probably not the point of the book to make you not want to hate people randomly, but it's what it did to me. So, Lullaby by Chuck Palahniuk. My last book is another Hunter S. Thompson book. This is his autobiography written in 2003, as opposed to The Great Shark Hunt, which was a compilation made in '77 of all of his writing from like the 60s to the 70s. This is him talking about like his life now and his life growing up. And it's interesting to see because in The Great Shark Hunt, he's railing against people, he's railing against commercialism, he's railing against like how freedom's going down and how this country is about to not exist, and he's railing against Nixon. And in this book, he's convinced that America is no longer a free country, which I haven't gotten to the point where he completely explains that statement, as far as the Patriot Act and things going down in Guantanamo Bay. And it's really interesting just to see that 30 years difference of, in '77, he decided that he probably should have just ended his book. He writes in the intro that he probably should just end it by committing suicide, and then because he's never going to write anything as good as the books that are there, and people are going to make fun of him, and he's very negative about like all the people when he's a person in himself. Like, it's interesting because he's there talking about how people are going to get drunk and terrible and covered in drugs, and he's right there with them, drinking and doing drugs and doing terrible things. And just and I would recommend all of these books for crazy people, because he's more of a crazy person and I like it a lot. Crazy Squid Anger. He's a very angry man. Like, but it's still all in the same kind of writing style where he'll be talking about his childhood, and then he goes off in this direction where he talks about helping out a forest ranger when there's like a forest fire in Colorado, and then he'll go back to the childhood story. And pretty good writer.